Okay, so welcome sa week 3 ng ating classes sa entrepreneurship, and where we're going to have discussion on unique selling proposition and target market customers. So these are some the objectives that we want to achieve in our class. So first is to understand USP and value proposition. So ano nga ba yung USP? Yun yung tinatawag natin na unique selling proposition, and also yung value proposition. And we're going to analyze target audience and validate assumptions with data. We have to work with data kasi nga hindi pwedeng invento lang yung gagawin nating study when we are starting, or we want to run a business. So hindi lang siya lahat ay mga imagination lang. Okay, so we were going to validate those information, those data with assumption sa mga data, especially sa mga numbers na makikita natin doon sa mga data na yon. So what is USP, or unique selling proposition? So unique selling proposition focuses on a specific unique aspect that differentiate a product or service from its competitors. Now, ang sabi dito, yung USP daw, nagfo-focus ito, okay, sa unique aspects, at nagdi-differentiate siya kung ano yung kakaiba doon sa produkto mo or serbisyo mo na ibinibigay sa ibang mga competitors mo. Okay? So, mamaya ihimay-himayin pa natin yung mga information na makikita natin dyan. Ngayon, while a value propositions, it outlines the overall benefits of a customers receive from the product or services. Actually, itong si USP at saka si value proposition, somehow, ginagamit talaga yan. At diyan ay makikita natin usually tagline, okay, ng mga company, or tagline mismo nung product na ibinebenta natin. So sa USP kasi, it focuses on the product. Pero pagdating kay value proposition, it focus naman doon kay customer. So isa-isa natin. Essentially, a USP is concise statement. So it is a statement highlighting what's make your offering special, whereas a value proposition encompasses the broader promise of the value to the customer. So we see na sa USP kasi, it focus talaga doon sa may product na ito. It highlights kung ano yung mga special offering or special offer ng ating produkto, while si value proposition naman, yung broader promise naman na makukuha ni customer. So it focuses on the customer naman. So si USP focus ni USP is what makes your product or service uniquely better than the competitions. So, ano ba yung kaibahan or yung uniqueness ng produkto mo na nagbibigay ng highlights para masabi na better ang produkto mo kaysa doon sa ibang mga produkto. And also, the purpose of this USP statement, okay, to clearly differentiate your business and attract a specific target market. So, mahalaga yung USP, mahalaga yung statement na yan. Kasi somehow, it represent our product, it represent our company. Example nito. So, sabi natin kanina si USP is focused on the product. So, pizza deliver in 30 minutes or it's free. So, it is a classic USP focusing on a specific benefit na magagaranti na ng service at produkto na ino-offer ni Domino's. So, pizza delivered in 30 minutes. People love pizza kapag ka mainit. Okay? So, kapag ang customer bumili daw kay Domino's, ibig sabihin, it focus on the product and service. 30 minutes, nasa inyo na yung product namin. Ito ay mainit at syempre, fresh siya, kaya mas masarap kainin. So, si Tom Shoes naman, for every pair of shoes per case, Tom's donates a pair to a child in need. So, it focus din sa goal ni Tom Shoes. So, when you buy a pair of shoes, it donates a pair to a child in need. Si Avis naman, we're number 2, we try harder. Ayan. So, ayan yung mga USP or unique selling proposition nila. Now, let's move to value proposition. Ang focus ni value proposition, the overall value and benefits a customer receive for your offering. So, it focus on the customer naman. So, kanina, si USP focus on the product. Pagdating kay value proposition, it focus on its customer. Ano yung benepisyo na makukuha ni customer? So, ang purpose kasi nito is to communicate to the customers why they should choose your product or service over the other. Kasi mas pinofocus ni value proposition yung benefits na makukuha ni customer. Example nito, so a company might focus on their convenience, quality, and cost saving their product provides. So si Amazon, focus kasi kay customer. Low prices, okay? So ito yung benefits ni customer. Low prices, fast delivery, and vast selection. Okay? Si Trello naman, if you are not familiar with Trello, si Trello naman ay isang web app application na kung saan, website na kung saan it can keep yung task ng teams. So, usually ginagamit to kapag ang work mo ay work from home, ginagamit to kapag remote jobs. Yan. So, keep all your task teams and tools in one place even if your team isn't. Kasi nga, team mo, wala naman doon sa isang lugar lang kasi they are in different locations. So, ang goal ni Trello at ang sinasabi niya sa kanyang customer, I will keep all your tasks and team and tools in one place. Ayan. And then yung Robinhood naman, investing for everyone. So, these are the key differences summarized when it comes to USP and value proposition. So, si USP focuses on differentiation from competitors, and then si value proposition naman, benefits to the customers. Ang goal naman ng dalawa nito, pagdating kay USP, is to highlight unique features ng kanilang produkto o ng kanilang service. Pagdating kay value proposition, convince customer to choose the products or service. And the language that they are using for USP is concise, specific, and often feature focus. Pagdating naman kay value proposition, it is clear, benefit-driven, and often customer-centric. Okay? So, in simple terms, imagine a bakery. So, ito yung USP na pwede nilang sabihin. So, USP may be they use a special type of flour that makes their bread extra fluffy. Ayun. So, halimbawa, doon sa kanilang, sa bakery nila, ang USP nila doon nakafocus sa ingredients na kanilang bread na kung saan sinasabi sa mga customer, gumamit kami dito ng special type ng flour. Kaya mas masarap yung aming bread, mas masustansya yung aming bread or extra fluffy yung aming bread. Ngayon, kay value proposition naman, ang sasabihin niya, ano yung marireceive na product ni customer. So, it focuses on the customer. Might be their bread is so delicious and fresh, it will make your breakfast or lunch a truly enjoyable experience. So, ang value proposition naman, kung bakery yung pinag-uusapan, pwedeng nakafocus naman to, it is delicious and fresh. So, si customer, masasarapan daw at fresh yung kanyang kakainin. At may experience ni customer, yung kanyang breakfast or yung kanyang lunch, enjoyable experience. Okay? So, I think malinaw na-differentiate natin si USP, okay, at si value proposition. So, later on sa mga gagawin pa nating mga activities, pagagawan ko kayo ng ganyan doon sa inyong naisip na product. So, I hope na nag-iisip-isip na kayo ng mga products na nakikita ninyo na pwede nating i-sell or solusyon doon sa mga problems on your communities na pwede nating ibenta or bigay sa ating mga customers o sa ating mga target markets. So, let's move now to target audience analysis. So, what is target audience analysis? So, target audience analysis is the process of identifying and understanding the specific group of people most likely to be interested in your products or services. So, si target audience analysis, ito yung proseso na ginagawa natin para ma-identify natin at maintindihan natin yung target market natin or yung mga tao doon sa lugar na kung saan ando doon yung location ng ating tindahan, ando doon yung location ng ating company, or doon natin ibibigay yung products or services natin na ibebenta natin sa kanila. So, it also involves gathering data on demographics, which is the locations, psychographics, ito yung kanilang behaviors actually, and needs to create a detailed profile of your ideal customers. So, this analysis is crucial for effective marketing, content creation, and product development. So, we were going to work on data. For example, dito sa barangay namin, sabihin natin barangay 1, barangay 2, barangay 3, barangay 4. And your business or yung gusto mong itayo na tindahan or business ay located sa barangay 1. So, doon, you will gather data regarding sa mga tao, ganong karami ba yung tao sa barangay 1, barangay 2, barangay 3, and barangay 4. Tapos, pwede mo rin tingnan doon, ilan ba kayo na nag-o-offer ng ganyang klase ng produkto or services. And then, titignan mo rin doon, ganong karami ba yung bata, kabataan, estudyante, or mga nagtatrabaho doon sa lugar. Kasi somehow, you will identify yung presyo ba ng produkto na ibinibigay mo ay masyadong mahal para sa mga taong nandito. Kasi kung ganon, pwedeng lumiit yung target market mo. Okay? Although meron pa rin naman talagang market para doon sa kahit gaano kamahal yung presyo ng iyong produkto. But still, yung kung saan natin ilalagay yung ating product, sa lugar kung saan natin ilalagay yung ating product, we need to understand yung kalalagayan ng kanilang behavior and even yung kanilang kinikita or pinagkakakitaan doon sa may lugar. And also, crucial din ito para sa effective marketing. Okay? For example, halimbawa na lang yung aking lip tint product, yung Tinte Amor, which is available in TikTok shop, on my TikTok shop. Si Tinte Amor kasi ay product ng mga discussion namin sa live discussion namin sa aming entrepreneurship. So, kakadiscuss namin, kakabigay namin example, laging lip tint. So, sabi ko, bakit hindi ko simulan? So, naghanap ako ng mga supplier kung saan ako makakuha ng mga raw materials or materials na gagamitin para makagawa ng lip tint. So, nabuo yung Tinte Amor. So, i-discuss ko rin sa inyo yan. I-present ko rin sa inyo yan later on our discussions. Okay, so ngayon, example, si Tinte Amor, lip tint to. Okay? Tapos, itinayo mo siya sa tapat ng elementary school. So, pwede mo tingnan doon, kailangan na ba ng mga elementary student yung produkto mo? So, I think you are in the wrong place. Okay? Ngayon, since you know that your product is for youth or for women na busy o laging umaalis sa kanilang bahay, kapag meron kang flyering materials or marketing materials na, halimbawa, flyering nga, hindi mo siya bibigay sa estudyante na elementary. So, ibibigay mo siya sa kabataang babae or babae na nagtatrabaho kasi alam mo, araw-araw lumalabas sila ng bahay and they want make themselves beautiful kapag lumalabas sila ng mga tahanan. And also, when it comes to content creation sa ating mga social media accounts and also for product development. So, napakahalaga ng target audience analysis. So, these are the key aspects for target audience analysis. Pag sinabi kasing demographics, ito yung age, gender, income, education, and location, and also the occupation ng lugar kung in a specific place. Meron din tayong tinatawag na psychographics naman. Ito naman yung lifestyles and values and interests, attitudes and opinions dito sa may lugar na to. For example, nakita mo doon sa barangay 1, 2, 3, and 4, talagang highly active sila, yung lifestyle nila. Pagdating ng hapon, talagang mahilig silang kumain sa labas. Okay, so ibig sabihin, opportunity, food, ang nakikita natin dito. Tapos napansin mo rin sila, doon sa lugar pala na yon, isa din sa lifestyle nila, mahilig pala sila sa sports. Okay, so ang daming mga sports centers doon sa lugar. So, tinitingnan natin yung mga bagay na yun para makita natin nasaan yung mga tao. Kasi pagka may sports yan, so definitely andyan yan sa mga court. So, andun yung mga tao. So, ano yung product yung sa tingin mo they need during na nandoon sila sa mga event na yon or sa activities na yon. We also have to look the behaviors. This is napakahalaga nito, especially when we are creating contents on our social media accounts. So, how they interact with your brand, their purchasing habits, and online behaviors. And the needs. What problem are they trying to solve, and what are they looking for or in a product or service. So, ano kaya hinahanap nila sa isang produkto? Sa tingin mo, ano yung pangangailangan nila or something na problem nila na ikaw yung makapagbigay ng solusyon. So, these are the targets of market audience analysis. So, number 1 is to improve marketing effectiveness. So, by understanding your audience, you can tailor your messaging and channels to reach them more effectively. This is very important especially when we are working with our content sa ating mga social media accounts. Kasi nga, mas malalaman natin yung mga hashtags na yan. Ang tawag naman dyan ay I forgot the term. So, yun, balikan ko na lang yung term na, kalimutan ko yung tawag doon sa term na iyon, na kung saan isa siyang tool or isa siyang way para madaling mahanap ng mga tamang tao, tamang customers yung iyong product. Okay? So, we have this also increase for engagement. So, when you speak to your audience specifically, specific needs and interests, they are more likely to engage with your content and offering. So, for example, sabi ko nga sa inyo, lip tint. So, yung lip tint, in-offer mo sa kindergarten o sa elementary student, they are not interested on that. Unless na lang kung ice cream yung ibinebenta mo, kasi doon mas interesado sila. So, ibig sabihin, hindi pa nila kailangan yon, you will not get an engagement, a good engagement doon sa tao or doon sa audience na kinakausap mo. Better product development. So, knowing your target audience help you create products and services that meets their needs and preferences. For example, yung lip tint ko kasi, roll-on siya. So, based on my analysis, nagpabigay ako ng mga pre-samples. Meron na rin akong, although meron available na siya online, at meron din naman talaga na gusto yung lip tint nila ay roll-on. So, pero based din sa mga recommendation ng ibang mga customers ko, mas gusto nila yung parang kinukuha na ganun, pinapahid sa lang sa labi nila. Yung iba naman, nilalagay dito sa palad, tapos ginagano nila. So, kasi may experience daw sila na kapag roll-on ang ginagamit nilang doon sa lip tint nila, ay bumabaho daw. So, it is an opportunity for me to have a better product or ma-develop yung product na yon. And enhance customers experience. This is also very important. Na makita natin na understanding your audience pain points allow you to provide solution and improve overall experience. So, syempre, ang goal kasi natin, ma-satisfy din natin si customer sa ating services or product na ating ibinebenta. And it's also cost savings. So, by focusing your efforts on the right audience, you can avoid wasting resources on ineffective or marketing campaigns. For example, flyering. Okay, so sabi ko nga sa inyo, ang target market natin ay yung mga babae, kababaihan na busy, laging umalis ng bahay, and they want themselves look beautiful kapag sila ay lumalabas ng bahay. So, this is for Tinte Amor, for lip tint. Okay, so yung halimbawa may flyers ako, hindi ko yun ipapamigay sa mga estudyante, grade 3, grade 4, grade 5, or elementary student. Hindi ko papamigay flyers ko doon kasi they will not appreciate what I am selling. Okay? Kaya, if I understand yung aking target audience through target audience analysis, mas alam ko kung kanino dapat ibigay yung mga marketing materials or yung mga flyers na naka-ready for marketing. And also for competitive advantage, understanding your audience better than your competitors can give you a significant edge. Okay, so kasi mas malinaw na kung kanino mo ibibigay o ipapakita yung mga produkto mo, especially when you are working with Facebook ads. So, by the way, ako ay isang Facebook ad specialist. So, I run, meron ako mga clients, mga businesses na ako mismo yung nagra-run ng kanilang mga advertisements on Facebooks. Okay? So, kasi kada makikita yung advertisement mo doon sa Facebook platform o sa social media platform, binabayaran mo na agad yon. Paano kung nakakakita is a person who are not really interested on your product? So, sayang yung pera. Kaya, understanding your audience can give you a better edge or significant edge para sa iyong mga competitors, na kung saan mas tama na i-distribute mo yung pera or yung ads mo doon sa mga tamang tao. So, how to conduct a target audience analysis? So, paano nga ba? Number 1, you have to define your goals. So, what do you hope to achieve with this analysis? So, na lang yung Adobe says na ko lang yan. Typo lang yan. So, first, we have to define yung goals natin para makapaggawa tayo ng target audience analysis. And after natin ma-define yung goals natin, we were going to gather data. So, gagamit na tayo ng iba't ibang uri ng mga methods. Pwedeng yung surveys, pwedeng yung interviews, pwedeng yung social media analytics natin. So, makikita naman natin yan especially when we are working with Facebooks. We have website analytics kung ikaw ay merong website, and we have this customer relationship management o yung CRM data natin. So halimbawa, makikita mo yan, yung customer 1 mo, customer 2, customer 3. After 1 week, sino sa kanila yung bumalik para bumili ulit ng product mo? Or after 2 weeks, sino ulit yung bumalik para bumalik ng products mo? Or hindi na ba sila bumalik? Bakit kaya? Baka hindi na satisfied doon sa may produkto or services na ino-offer mo. So you can also analyze the data, look for the patterns and trends in the data to identify key characteristic of your target audience. So halimbawa, nakita mo doon sa may target market audience mo, napansin mo na ang daming bumibili ng product mo kapag pala Friday ng gabi. So through that, yung Monday to Thursday mo, pwede kang magkaroon ng mga special promos or discounts sa mga customers mo para doon sa mga patay na araw kung saan wala kang ganong sales ay magkaroon ka ng sales. Kasi nga, napansin mo, yung patterns kasi doon or trends kasi doon sa data mo, talagang nasosold out siya pagdating ng Friday night, Saturday, and Sunday. You can create buyer personas, so develop detailed profiles of your ideal customers based on your data you have collected. So, mas makikita mo dyan at mas ma-identify mo ngayon yung mga target audience mo dyan. And refine your strategy. So, use the insight for analysis to improve your marketing, product development, and customer experience. Now, we were going to validate assumptions with data. Okay? So, hindi lang tayo mag-a-assume nung mga data na nakita natin. We were going to validate those assumptions. So, to validate assumption with data, first, identify your assumption and hypothesis. So, ano yung assumption natin? So, makikita natin dito yan. So, by defining our goals. And then, choose appropriate data source and collection method to test this assumption. And then, analyze the collected data to determine if it supports or contradicts on your initial assumption. And finally, update your assumption based on the finding and iterate on the process. So, ano ba yung mga tools na pwede natin magamit para matest natin yung mga assumptions na yan through collections method. So, first, para ma-validate natin yung mga assumptions, so define assumption and hypothesis. So, clearly articulate what you're assuming about the problem. So, ano ba yung problem na gusto nating isolve? And then the target audience and the solution. So, for example, if you're building a website, so syempre, you might assume that the user will prefer a certain navigation style or they will easily understand your product's value proposition. So, syempre, yung assumption natin dito, website pinag-uusapan natin to, definitely, yung marketing mo dyan, online. Yung marketing mo dyan, in connection with other social media platforms na kung saan mas madali makikita yung website mo. And then, choose data sources in collections ng mga data. So, determine what data will be needed to validate your assumptions. Ano-ano yon? So, we can do a surveys. So, gather user feedback or your assumption about their needs and preferences. We have this interview. So, we can conduct in-depth conversation with the users and to understand their motivations and pain points. Meron tayo tinatawag na A/B testing. Okay, so compare different versions of your product or feature to see which perform better. So, meron kang halimbawa different na scent doon sa iyong product. So, halimbawa, lip tint. So, meron kang different na scent dyan or different na amoy ng iyong lip tint. So, through that, pwede mag-A/B testing. Makita natin doon sa tatlong produkto na ito or doon sa tatlong scent na ito, alin dyan yung pinaka mas binibili ng mga tao. And we can use the analytics so for tracking the user behavior on your website or your app o doon sa ating advertisement to identify patterns and trends. And so also, hindi natin makakalimutan syempre yung research. So, explore existing literature and data to see what others have learned about similar problems. So, pwede natin gamitin yung data ng ibang tao or yung mga already search data regarding doon sa ating product. Or para makita natin agad, okay, kaya pala hindi nagtagumpay yung produkto na to kasi existing pala, ganito yung nangyari before at ayaw pala so far before ng mga tao. Halimbawa na lang during pandemic time, 'di ba? Yung mga tao dati hindi talaga umu-order online, at the same time they are not really trusting yung mga delivery options na 'yan. Kasi nga mas gusto talaga sila yung mismo pupunta sa store, makuha nila yung product on themselves, ma-pick up nila yung product on themselves. Pero during pandemic time, wala silang nagawa. Walang nagawa ang mga tao kundi magtiwala sa mga online platforms para matugunan yung kanilang pangangailangan, yung delivery and also yung pag-order nila. At up to now, nakita natin lalo pa siyang lumakas at patuloy na ginagamit ng mga tao. So, we can collect and analyze the data, gather the necessary data using your chosen methods, then analyze the data to identify patterns, trends, and insights that support or refute your assumption. So, example natin dito, if you assume that the user will prefer a certain color scheme, you can analyze click-through rates for different color options. So, pinag-usapan pa rin natin yung unang-una natin, yung sa website. Okay, so, syempre, alam naman natin when we are working with websites, especially doon sa mga nakikita natin online, sa ating web pages, yung interactive yung design or yung user interface, madaling intindihin, mas nag-enjoy tayo na gamitin yung websites. And interpret and iterate. So, based on your analysis, determine whether your assumption were accurate. If the data supports your assumption, you can move forward with confidence. Ngayon, kung yung data naman nagko-concentrate doon sa may assumption mo, ang kailangan lang gawin is mag-adjust ng iyong approach or mag-revise ka ng assumption mo para magtugma yung interpretation doon sa iyong assumptions. So, example natin, let's say you're building a mobile app and you assume that user will primarily use the app for online shopping. So, you can validate the assumption by what? So, define natin yung assumption natin. Assumption natin dito, user will primarily use the app for online shopping. So, that's the goal. Kaya nga tayo gumawa ng online app, ng online application or application for online shopping. Kagaya ng halimbawa, Shopee. So, talaga, ang goal natin dito, ina-assume natin dito, yung mga customer, gagamitin yung app natin for online shopping. And then, yung data source natin, pwede tayong mag-conduct ng mga user surveys and tracking app usage data. So, for example, kapag ginagawa natin yung, nag-open sila ng app, may tracking data yon para makita na system, gaano katagal nag-stay si customer doon sa application. Anong kaya yung mga sinerch niya, nag-check out ba siya ng items, gaano kalaki yung ginastos niya, and somehow those data ay ginagamit din naman para makapagbigay ng mas magandang experience kay customers. So, meron din tayong collecting and analyzing data. Surveys can ask user about their shopping habits and reason for using the app. Kaya nga, minsan after nating mag-order or after nating makareceive ng mga item, makaka-receive tayo ng mga email or text messages na sinasabi sa atin, they want us na mag-join sa surveys na yon. And in return, sometimes binibigyan tayo ng mga coins or discounts or free vouchers para kapalit nung time na in-spend natin doon sa mga surveys na yun. Na kung saan yung mga surveys na ito ay ginagamit ng mga tao na yon para malaman yung ating shopping habits or bakit mas ginagamit natin yung app na to kaysa doon sa app na to, or matrack yung mga ginagawa natin during na hawak natin or naka-open tayo doon sa kanilang application. And interpreting and iterating, if the survey result and app usage data show that the user primarily use the app for other purposes like social networking or news assumption, then ano nangyari? You would need to iterate and adjust your assumption about the app's primary use case. So, gumawa tayo ng isang application, halimbawa, para sa online shopping. Pero instead na pang online shopping, mas na-enjoy nung mga customers o yung mga client natin na gamitin yung app for social networking at news assumption. So, pwedeng i-update or i-upgrade yung app na instead na nakafocus lang siya sa online shopping, magkaroon din siya ng iba't ibang mga features like for social networking and news assumption. Example niyan, yung Shopee, na before wala namang doon video na napapanood. Ngayon meron na tayong mga video, may nagla-live na rin. Tapos meron na ring mga reels na maiikse na kung saan pinoportray yung mga products nila. So it creates now what? It creates now more informative platform para malaman ano ba yung ino-offer nung application na ito. So ngayon, for your performance task, sa at least na phase ang gagawin nyo dito, personal to. Okay, so business idea defense. So syempre, pinagdaanan naman natin yung idea generation, and then i-filter natin yung mga ideas na yan. So I want you to think a business idea. So what is the brand name? So ngayon, ano lang muna to, kumbaga at least 3. Okay, at least 3 yung gagawin natin dito. At which the brand name, yung category, ano yung target audience, and benefit na ino-offer mo, and yung point of difference ng iyong product, and yung USP mo. So, for USP, meron tayong dalawang flat structure for target audience, who, statement of need, brand name, is, category, frame of preference, brand, provides, or delivers, and benefit. That because we have blah blah blah, which is the point of difference. For example, structure number 2, brand name is a blank company that provides target audience with and benefit by points of difference. So, bigyan ko kayo ng example. Let me open my other okay. So, ito yon. So, ito yung si Tinte Amor. So, Tinte Amor for the brand name. Ayan siya, brand name. So, Tinte Amor inspired by the word tint, so which refers to lip tint or a hint of color. The accent adds a touch of elegance and gives it a European flair or especially French. Amor meaning love, and ang tagline natin dito, Tinte Amor, naturally kissable. Okay? So, ang category, syempre cosmetics dahil natural lip care to, and specifically sa lip tint with glossy finish and all natural ingredients. So, ang target audience natin dito, women age 15 to 35 years old who are beauty conscious, socially active, and prefer products that enhance natural beauty. And also, individuals who value natural, cruelty-free, and eco-conscious cosmetics. Ang target audience natin dito, Gen Z and millennials who are looking for kissable lips, long-lasting tint, and easy-to-use products for everyday wear. Ayan, wear. And makeup beginners for enthusiasts who want a romantic, elegant vibe in their beauty essentials. So that is for our target audience. I think I have an example of this product, but let me get it first. Okay, sandali lang. Okay, so ayan, so ito si Tinte Amor. Hindi lang ganun pala kita. Ayan siya. So itong si Tinte Amor, we came up to this idea during our classes. And then we turn it into reality. So ito na siya. Ito na yung itsura ni Tinte Amor. Ayan. So available na rin to sa aking TikTok shop. Okay? So, the end benefit na aking ino-offer ay naturally kissable, glossy lips that stay beautiful all day with the comfort of knowing it's made from all natural and gentle ingredients. May point of difference, yung USP natin, packaged with an elegant minimalist design that hindi pa to yung USP. Packaged with an elegant minimalist design that stands out on shelves and in photos. Free from harsh chemicals. So, no parabens, no sulfates, no synthetics dyes. And my point is difference, a luxurious yet affordable lip tint that combines romantic French-inspired branding with clean beauty formulations. Dual effect, it gives long-lasting tint plus hydrating gloss in one swipe. Okay, so ito yung USP ko for structure number 1. For beauty-conscious women who desire long-lasting, kissable lips with a natural glow, Tinte Amor is the natural lip tint brand that delivers a glossy, nourishing color that lasts for hours. That because we use only all natural ingredients and French-inspired formula designed to be gentle, hydrating, and irresistibly romantic. So for structure number 2 naman ng USP, Tinte Amor is a natural cosmetic brand that provides beauty-conscious women with long-lasting, glossy, kissable lips by using all natural, skin-loving ingredients in a luxurious French-inspired formula. Ngayon, if you want na gumamit ng other type or instead of USP, gaya ng gusto nyong gumamit ng value proposition, so pwede nyo namin gamitin. So, it's up to you para doon sa ating activity. Ayan. So, I'll send other details for this activity. But for now, pwede na kayo mag-isip ng mga ideas or mga business ideas na sa tingin nyo ay magandang gawin or can solve a problem on your community. So if you have questions, don't hesitate, mag-send lang kayo ng PM or sa ating mga group chats para ma-address natin yung mga questions na yan and concern. So yun lang, maraming salamat.